Tanzanina kiniput wapaske mikus yumikwa napio. Many blessings to all my relations in the four directions. Tudamak. I love you. Kisakitu. To my beautiful family across Lake. I love you. Communities all across this Turtle Island. I want to wish, well, a happy Earth Day. You know, people don't realize that for Indigenous people, every day was Earth Day. You know, and I want to thank Max Wilbert for being here on Standing Bear Network. He's the author of Bright Green Lies, and he goes on to talk about the impact of full screen solutions on vulnerable communities. And there was a lot of overlap in our work, you know, go to our educational segments and learn about hydro-impacted communities, learn about the removal of aggregate in Wampanoag territory, mining. This has always been about land and resources. You know, and maybe we put together this holiday that we call Earth Day, Wichimakade. For us, you know, every day is Earth Day. And, you know, when I was at Standing Rock, it was a life-changing experience for me. And what I came back with was, what would you have me do next, Creator? And he said to me, you have to bring people together in a good way. In a good way. Bring people together. I try to tell myself not to get too emotional on these live feeds, but, you know, I think we're beginning to realize that this isn't just an economic crisis, not just a military crisis. You know, this is a crisis at the very heart of our humanity. Yeah, that's what colonialism is. It's this traveling esophagus, consuming everything in its path. And it's infiltrated every aspect of our policies all across Turtle Island and beyond. All the colonial impositions that come to us from the doctrine of discovery and terra nullius, and all the things designed to separate us from our lands. I think people all across Turtle Island and the world are beginning to realize that what you do to this part of the web, you do to the entire web. Everybody's feeling it. I've seen people, you know, in the colonial terms, they would be considered, you know, upper middle class, $750,000 homes, overlooking beautiful cranberry bogs, but then only beyond that to find this massive solar field. So, you know, we can see that the impact of resource extraction has extended itself well into our urban centers, our urban communities, and suburban communities. It's insatiable, and it's reaching everybody. And this is, and people are good inside, you know. Even the ones you might think are monsters, could be an ally. You know, and don't underestimate of change. So bringing people together in a good way, speaking with a kind heart, helping people, helping our people to realize and see their inner beauty. And when you do that, you don't have to be afraid. You know, I've been to Standing Rock, and if there's one thing I learned, is there's no courage like the courage that comes from compassion. Remember who you are. Don't be afraid. I didn't know I was going to get emotional. That's okay. I want to sing a song just to break it up a little bit. Thank you for sharing space with me. It was a million times I cried in the night, longing to be loved. Tears of emptiness and suffering fell inside these dark walls. Indian child, she came from Providence, one in Rhode Island, where the old world shadows hang heavy in the air. She packed her hopes and dreams like a refugee, just as her father came across the sea. She heard about a place people were smiling. He spoke about the red man's ways and how they love him. They came from everywhere to the great divide, seeking a place to stand or a place to hide. Down in the crowded bars, out for a good time. Can't wait to tell you all what it's like up there. They call it paradise, a place to be. They watch the hazy sun sinking in the sea. And the chilly winds blew down across the desert, through the canyons of the coast, to the Malibu, where the pretty people play, hungry for power, to light their neon ways, give them things to do. Any blessings, you guys? Some rich man came and raped the land, nobody caught on. Put up a bunch of ugly boxes, and Jesus people bought. They called it paradise, the place to be. They watched the hazy sun sinking in the sea. We can leave it all behind, sail to the Havana, just like the missionaries did so many years ago. They even brought a neon sign said, Jesus is coming. They brought the white man's burden down, brought the white man's rain. Provide the grand design, what is yours and what is mine. 'Cause there is no more new frontier, we have got to make it here. We satisfy our endless needs, justify our bloody deeds, in the name of destiny, and in the name of God. And you can see them there on Sunday morning, stand up and sing about what it's like up there. They call it paradise. I don't know why we call someplace paradise. Kiss it goodbye. The sporting grounds will be restored. Do you remember? Do you remember who you are? Allies. Do you know your tribe? Can you remember the medicines and the traditions that lead you back to the water, to this Mother Earth? Always give what you can, even if your allies your land in the sand, and dig, always dig a little deeper. Sometimes it's hard. wonder if she reads them, or if they get lost in the stars, stars, stars. So many parts to a heavy heart. If there's no beginning, then where would you start? Start, start, where would you start? Human souls, so we carve from the snowy toby holes. Cause we're always searching for a certain goal. Pattern and facing to rows. Don't believe all you're told and been. Open up your fist to the misconception you can find like this and pray. With the power of prayer, if God's on our side, we can take the stairs to the heavens. Flipping through my terrors and I look with the snakes in the great deception. No port in his country for men who steal from the mother of people with the hand of Japan. Never entered, go whatever asking. This is the way we should go. Listen, so happy. My God is laying the earth, baby. Yeah, we got this focus. And it's redirected, grateful. And a resurrected stubborn. But I know the way. With the skin on my drum to your rhythm, I will sway. Take my hand. I don't lead you astray. We will not go gently for the darkest of days. Grandma's here, and she says, "There's a meter. Take a walk in her box. Take a trail of tears in our fears. For the same million over her beers. The pain of our holidays tears. Always robbing in motion, baby, baby, being under an ocean. Your arches, now they bring me trapped by my conscience. Never slipped through the grip of my thesis. And my theories, I shine in your presence. A deliverance, yeah. Love letters to God. I wonder if she reads them, or if they get lost in the stars, stars, stars. So many parts to a heavy heart. If there's no beginning, then where would you start? Start, start, where would you start? I see a pepper lily. Oh, wow. You know, I want to thank everybody for their presence. Thank you for your presence. I was looking for water. I'll find some. In this Earth Day 2022, let's remember what Earth Day is really all about. It's about relationships. You know, it's about bringing people together in a good way, speaking with a kind heart, you know, being fierce, you know, for your obligations and your teachings. Occupy your territories, gather your medicines, and don't be afraid. You know, this is this is a hard time for our First Nations, and I don't know that our people here in the States understand what's happening with our First Nations under the Trudeau government right now. He's finishing off what his father started in 1969 with the White Papers. And look those up if you don't know what the 69 White Papers were. And that was the Trudeau Chrétien government that introduced that. And people were up in arms because it had to do with, status and control of lands and resources, and the options to get us out of the Indian Act that was just targeting us under the colonial umbrella of Canada. Why? Because they don't want to give up the resources. They don't want to recognize Aboriginal title, inherent rights. Inherent rights. That's not entrenched, in Section 35. I mean, it is, but it isn't. When the common law court system and bureaucracy comes and says, that's an empty box. And we don't know what your rights are. So in order to know what they are, to be clear, we have to delineate and define them. We said, no. We know our rights. They're all in the box. And so many of our people fought hard for that, to say that those are our rights. But now, here we are in 2022, and we have Joe Weider saying that, your rights need to be delineated and described. Put on, black ink on white paper. And what's not delineated and described will be extinguished. And our people are sitting at negotiating tables as we speak. I don't know if they're realizing that they, when you sign these modern treaty agreements, these land claims and self-governance agreements, you're entering into you're entering into a trap. Essentially, Trudeau has put in place what's come to be known as permanent bilateral mechanisms. And these are the three great national indigenous organizations, including First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. And they set up these negotiating tables, and they try to introduce a legislation that would deal with the indigenous population with a blanket policy, and it didn't work. Our people fought against it. But what they did is they began introducing things incrementally, and then they created these tables so that they could pick our communities off one at a time. And I know it's hard for our communities, and it's hard for the chiefs, because, maybe they say, my God, my people are impoverished. I need to get those service and benefits. We have, is this working? Okay. So yeah, I start to rant a little bit, and I don't know why my Wi-Fi is screwing up, but sorry about that, you guys. In our race against this climate monster that we have ahead of us, it's not going to help to just pluck away at the manifestations of what is a much deeper problem. This is why I say this is a spiritual problem. And this is why I say, whatever your belief system is, do you use that best part of your belief system to inform your decisions, your decision making? This is a deeply spiritual problem, and it's a relationship problem. It's a problem of not realizing that we're all connected. Everything. in a deep and powerful way. And mankind, we are little nature creatures. We always were. We're creatures of this earth. You know, Europeans, people from every continent. You grew from this Mother Earth in some way. But you've been disconnected. So many have been disconnected. And our families have been disconnected and attacked and systemically impoverished. And so, for my friends out there that are environmentalists, I don't say I'm an environmentalist, I don't say I have a religion. This is a way of life, and it always has been. And maybe you'll realize that if you take your shoes off and walk across this Mother Earth, or you go to a place that's really, really quiet, and you just listen. The songbirds told me a story this morning as I was sitting on my steps, and it got real quiet. And I haven't lost faith in humanity, and creation, every aspect, speaks to me. And we say, in every tree, 10,000 teachings, in every blade of grass, in every shining pine needle. And I remember that, I remember that. If we look at this climate crisis as being a matter of counting carbon molecules and doing all kinds of arithmetic acrobats, it's circumventing the problem, what's really going on, and it's hard because it's infiltrated and ingrained in every aspect of society, of our communities. This bad medicine is everywhere. It's in our court systems. It's at the State House. It's within environmentalist groups, faith-based organizations, and academia. This bad medicine. This bad medicine that has controlled the narrative, for so many years, discounted our oral traditions and suppressed our language and all those things that connected us to this Mother Earth. The impoverishment is intended, It is intended that they rob our children of the most formative years of their life. Why? For fear that they'll become the leaders that they were meant to be and always have been. But what they don't understand is it's in our DNA. Yeah, Yeniowak. You know what I'm talking about. It's in our DNA. It's in our blood memory. And our children are waking up, and our people are healing. Our elders, so many of our elders, surviving elders of the residential schools, we have very, very systemic problems that are occurring. And I think to myself, Creator, I say Great Spirit, I believe Great Spirit carries our prayers. And I say, Tantanina Kanipuit, Wapaske Mikashimi Kwanapio, Kisementu. What do I do? What do I do? And he says, It's about bringing people together. It's about relationships. It's about understanding our relationships, not just to one another, but to that sacred image that reflects back to us every time we look in the mirror, that you recognize your beauty and your worth. Get involved in your communities. Give people a hug and let them know that they're loved and they're invited and they're needed. Everybody has something valuable to share. It could be an old family recipe, or some life-changing moment of clarity. But they're equally important. We have people in our communities, that are powerful, but they're quiet, and they have a quiet wisdom about them, and they want to answer questions quickly. You have to ask the right questions in a very small window of time. So try asking yourselves the right questions, and when that happens, we'll heal ourselves, our people, and this Mother Earth. I'm going to pick it up a little bit. If you just joined, welcome. Another impromptu Earth Day celebration. Love going out to all the people that have gathered and acknowledged all of these things that are going on, like the mining extraction and the hydro dams, the coal-fired powered plants, which are a lot of being decommissioned, but being replaced with frack gas. People don't realize that methane, the natural component of natural gas, is many, many times more potent than CO2. So it's a greenhouse gas. Methane also occurs in animal agriculture. So we see people trying to hyper-focus on a lot of things, and I understand how the sense of urgency and how important it is. But we can't forget how important acknowledging our interconnectedness to all things. That's what's paramount. And that's what's going to bring our people together. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Day after day, I'm more confused, but I look forward to the pouring rain. When my mind's free, know that the people move me. When I'm feeling blue, guitar's coming through to me. Thanks for the joy that you've given me. Happy Earth Day. Want you to know I believe in your song. Rhythm and rhyme and harmony. Help me along, making me strong. Oh, give me the people to feed my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Give me the people to feed my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. Many blessings to all my relations in the 4 directions. Wishing everybody out there a happy Earth Day. You know, warriors are coming together in a good way. And for those who don't know what a warrior is, you know, a warrior is the one who chops the wood. You know, draws the water. Make sure the elders are warm and fed, and that everybody feels safe. Those are the warriors. And you know, there's all kinds of courage in this world, and I marvel at it. You know, people being fearless in so many ways, jumping out of airplanes. You know. Getting on a jet ski for the first time, right? Doing all kinds of stuff. It's amazing. But there's no courage like the courage that comes from compassion. You know, that's when you have that aha moment, that moment of clarity. You know, that part of you that knows that when the matrix is lifted, you will scarcely be able to tell where you begin and the other person ends. That's how intricately we're connected. And the way time is set up is we don't understand that right away. You know, there's like a delayed reaction. It's like a frog getting put in a pot of water, and then it gets turned up real slowly. The frog acclimates, you know. It feels like that whatever temperature it's in, you know, that's the norm, and that's its security. And I think it's easy to draw comfort from these imposed systems of impoverishment. Arthur Manuel talked about it. He talked about how dispossession leads to dependency, leads to oppression. And what it does is it leads to despair, you know, and it really affects those developmental years of our kids. And people wonder why so many of our children are taking their own lives, committing suicide. That's the national crisis. That's the spiritual sickness that we've somehow become disconnected. That those children are my children, you know. And it's impacting everybody now, all across Turtle Island and the world. People are standing up for their inherent rights. We are Nehiyawak of Turtle Island. We never ceded our Wapahan, our eagle staff. We never ceded our eagle staff, our Wapahan. We hold inherent rights that have been acknowledged by Supreme Court of Canada rulings and other colonial courts of common law expression. And they say that they're going to define what those rights are. But you know what? Self-determination is not self-government. And it's certainly not self-government to the Crown or the federal or provincial governments. We need to take back our educational systems. We need to take back our healthcare systems. We need to put our medicines back in the hands of our traditional people. Our children must be connected to their language. We must preserve our languages. There are so many communities struggling with their languages. I know our Wampanoag family, they have a language revitalization program, and people that will work real hard to bring back the language. I think a lot of times on Earth Day, there are maybe big events that go on all over the place, and I think that there's a lot of environmentalists that are involved in false solutions, targeting things that aren't saving anybody. You're actually accelerating the process, because the more you contaminate our relationships, and you contaminate our relationships by diluting who we are as people.
Mama told me when I was young, said sit beside me, my only son, listen closely, oh baby, what I say, and if you do this, it'll help you someday. Forget your lust, the rich man's gold, all that you need is in your soul. You can do this, oh baby, if you try. But everyone from you, my son, is to be satisfied, be simple, careless. Would you do this for me, son, if you can? Be simple, be a simple man. Would you do this for me, son, if you can? Don't you worry, you'll find yourself, follow your heart, nothing else this, oh baby, if you try. All that I want from you, myself, is to be satisfied, be simple, be a simple man. Would you do this for me, son, if you can? And be a simple, will be a simple man. Won't you do this for me, son, if you can?
What's on your bookshelves, folks? What are you guys reading at home? You 5 who are watching right now. Are we educating our children? Are we idle no more? KNOW. Let's educate ourselves, educate our children, and let's stand up for our rights to sovereignty and self-determination. And boy, I think to myself, if Captain Kirk, were alive today, people would remember that. Didn't they have the primary objective of like non-interference? There was a little theme of decolonization going on there, right? I don't know if it's going to happen. Maybe it will happen when we're finally, flying around in the Starship Enterprise. But our people have been here since time immemorial. Colonization and the Industrial Revolution, it's like been this little window of time. But people have to realize that they've accelerated what they began during the Indian Act. And this is a time for all nations to come together, the way we did it at Standing Rock. Acknowledge your Taino relatives. We remember in 1492, Columbus landed on these shores in Taino territory. And the Santa Maria had run aground. And the contents of that ship were rescued by the Taino people. And Columbus marveled at what a beautiful people they were. Their language, their mannerisms. They never stopped laughing, he said. And it was in less than a year, he arrived a second time with an armada of 17 ships, conquistadors and horses and dogs. And he enslaved the people. He made them dig the mountains hollow for gold. And when there was no more gold to be found, I'm sure you guys have Googled a little bit of it. But few people know that our people, Taino people, killed their children, their own children, and then themselves to escape colonialism. The first Indian Act, was done in the early 1500s, and it came from the Queen of Spain, and it's called the Laws of Buergas. And it was an act and codes, the first that established, how to control land, Indians and land reserved for Indians. Check out those codes, those laws, the Laws of Burgos. It's the first Indian Act. And when we talk about 530 years of near genocidal extinction at the hands of colonialism, we're talking about that time, that moment of first contact. And all communities have their own point of first contact, and it's important to remember that too. I think because I am Taino Pimichikamak, and Pimichikamak was kind of like the last contact. And so we have many people that still speak English as a second language. But we have our holy people and our medicine people, and we have our Kisemen. So, all right, let's see. I'm going to do a happy song, pick it up a little bit.
Many blessings. Heavy code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well. The Father's help will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams. The one they picks, well, the one you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you'd cry. Just look at them. years. You don't know the fears that your elders grew by. And so please help them with your youth. We seek the truth before we can die. Teach your parents well, their children's hell will slowly go by. And feed them on your dreams. The one they picks, well, the ones you'll know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you you'd cry. Just look at that. And know they love you.
Many blessings to all my relations in the four directions. The Tudamuck, Niyowak, Niniwak. We got a long way to go, but our communities are coming together, and awareness is being raised, and there's beautiful people all over that have contacted me saying, "Oh my God, what can I do?" It's beginning to manifest itself in communities. You know, it's happening. Because when we align ourselves with that most sacred part of our own beliefs and our own teachings, the answers come. I haven't lost faith in humanity. We can do this, you know. We got a lot of bright, brilliant, beautiful young people all over the place. And some that are not so young. And we have guides. There are guides, people don't realize it, but you know, people think of the hierarchy, you know, it's like grassroots and you know, and then all that colonialism on top of it. You know, our people, our governments were flat, and you know, we have our own ways, our own laws governed by Creator that dictate how we live and how we govern ourselves. Just take a walk outside, you know, and listen. Listen to the trees and the animals and the birds. And if you're real quiet, you can even hear the rocks. Yeah. That's what Dahinki told me. He said, Creator put us here with the rocks. Like my Paiute Shoshone family, people of Red Mountain. My elders and my friends and family up in Pamichikamak, they tell me stories too. And I've been all across Turtle Island, spending time with so many different communities. People I love. It's hard when I leave, when I go from one place to another, because I feel like I'm leaving my own children, my own family, and my heart breaks every time I leave a community. But people, follow your bliss, follow your dreams, follow your heart. Learn what it is to become the initiator of your own life, to walk in a good way, meaning, you know, have those most sacred beliefs inform your decision making. And when we do that, we start to bring people together. Because there are things that are common to us as human beings, you know. We share a common humanity, and that's something that transcends the world of politics and achievement. And sometimes we get glimpses of that once in a while, glimpses of that understanding. But, to get connected with that in a deep, powerful way. It's happening. People are coming together in a good way. And support our traditional land defenders, our Wet'suwet'en family that are working so hard up there in BC. But they are protecting their unceded territories. And remember, you don't have just treaty rights. That's only half of the page, and maybe it's even less than that. But you have inherent Aboriginal rights that those treaty agreements sit on top of. So encourage our young people, let them know that. Let them know their power and their strength and their identity, who they are, what our ancestors have passed on to them. Encourage them to play that drum and sing that song and dance that dance, and to go hunting or fishing or trapping. Go sit with an elder. Ask him to tell you a story. We only have this small window of time, and our knowledge keepers are disappearing. Our knowledge keepers are disappearing. Some of their words can be preserved, online in recordings and things like that, and it's a point of reference. But we have to keep up our traditional teachings. We have to be the first order of education within our own families. And it's true, it does take a tribe. Kids need a lot of love. They need a lot of love during those formative years of growing up. They need good nutrition. Because if you don't have these things, it could lead to all kinds of developmental impairment. I don't know if I'm speaking loud enough, but it's funny, Standing Bear Network, it happened organically. I feel as though we've been helped along by hidden hands. I really feel that way. And I've had guides along the way. But I want to thank you for your presence, and I want to thank, that small slice of warriors out there. You're not many, but we don't need many because we have a host of ancestors behind us, and a law given to us by the Supreme Law, the Creator, which nobody can circumvent. Nobody can spin into meaninglessness. We know who we are, and we will tell our children who we are. Go ahead and wear a braid for those who can't, those who couldn't. Something happened in here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with
snipers are spread all across this country and the world. You feel it? Something happened here, but it isn't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I've got to beware. Next time I stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look, everybody look, everybody look. There were no mistakes deep into your life, it will creep. It starts when we're always afraid. It's the bad light, the man come and take you away. Best stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look, everybody look. Here comes another injunction, another arrest me. More tear gas. Snipers in the hills. I remember. I was there. And I touched their wounds. And I cried their tears. I knew that something was happening. Yeah. Something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I've got to beware. Next time I stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop, hey, what's that sound? Everybody look, everybody look, everybody look. No doubt. No more Keystone XL. Trans-Mountain Kinder Pipeline. I guess Kinder Morgan pulled out of that one. Now it's owned by the government. People are being arrested. With Sudan territory. Supreme women getting bullied. Bullied. At the hands of the province. Rest in peace. The answer to colonialism isn't more colonialism.